Okay, so tonight's topic is kashering liver, glat, purchasing fish from a non-kosher, non-hechshered store. So I'm going to really spend most of the time talking about kashering liver because it actually came up, 8 months ago, maybe a year ago, where someone had a situation. Before we get to the situation, I want to actually give you a little of a test that I don't know if people realize. What is the one treif product that go into a food showcase? And I'm sure I actually went just to double check, but most of the kosher stores sell. What's the one treif product they all sell? Literally mamish treif. There's liver. Literally raw liver sitting in a tub of blood. I actually took a picture with an angle. I don't know if you can see the viewers at home, but I wanted to show you just how much blood is in this little packet. You can barely see the liver. It just looks like a pack of blood. And on the packaging, it says chicken liver must be broiled before use. This is a food showcase. I went there about 3 hours ago. I took a quick field trip to go double check. And the reason I knew that this was a problem was because, okay, so the packaging just says must be broiled before use. So if you read that, what do you think the reason is? You think it's a health concern. You have no idea. You're in a kosher store. I'm not going to get myself in trouble with RCBC over here tonight, but you have no idea that this is actually a tremendous kashrus problem. So I called the RCBC when the Shiloh came up, 8-10 months ago, whatever it was. Someone called me and they said as follows. They bought the liver to kasher, and they knew that they grew up in a home where they saw their mother broil the liver, so they knew what to do. But they have a live-in, and the live-in didn't understand, and it said must be kashered. So must be broiled. What they do? They took out the frying pan or whatever it was, and they broiled it on the stovetop. And they said, Rabbi, what do we do?
Broiling is under a flame.
They didn't do it directly on the fire. You put it in something. They put it in a pot or a pan. It wasn't right. They called me and said, what do we do? I said, this is someone in a shul. I said, to be honest, I didn't know what's the issue. And they said, Rabbi, you're broiling blood. And it's treif. And they were absolutely 100% right. I just never saw my mother do it. I don't think my mother does make them. My mother makes a vegetable liver. It wasn't something that was seen in my home. But people enjoy liver, and they broil it. And they had their non-Jewish live-in saw must be broiled before use. So I spoke to the heads of RCBC, I'm not going to name names now, and I said, why are we selling this in our stores? It's a big michshol, people don't realize. So he said, you have to look closely. Right next to the liver, there's a sign. And it says explicitly, you have to read the sign, what you're supposed to do. So I took a picture of the sign. Everyone should know, this is from Food Showcase as of 3 hours ago, a kosher liver guide. And it goes and explains essentially that the blood inside a liver is impossible to get out with just the simple salt process that we do by kashering other meat. And it's not enough, and you need to broil it there's a whole process. I don't need to repeat the process. You may have seen things, but basically put a little bit of salt on both sides. You cut it up. You flay it to kind of open it up. You broil it on a medium setting till it browns, till it gets rid of the pinkish, it browns a little bit. It's about half to two-thirds cooked. Then you rinse it off and get all the blood out. Then you soak it in cold water, rinse it off again. I think you do like 3, I forget the exact pratim, you look at the chart. And only after you've done this whole process, then any juice that subsequently you see afterwards, we can say that's not dam, that's just the meat juice that comes out of things. So basically RCBC responded, their policy, as long as they have an explanation, so then it's okay. So in the end, this person unfortunately was one of those Teflon coated thing, and I said, I think you should give a gift to your live-in that they just earned themselves erroneously a free frying pan or wherever it was. But I think this is a little known thing. That we're selling blood in the stores. That's treif blood. You couldn't drink that blood. It's literally animal blood, and you have to. So what are you supposed to do? So you're supposed to have a specially designated utensils for whatever is going to come in contact with the liver pre the broiling. Once it's broiled, then it's considered kosher. You've got rid of the meat. Now you can cook it or saute it. There's shilas about the timing, but basically once it's broiled, now it's kosher. You can now cook it, and you can now use kosher utensils. But you need to have a set of special utensils, which are basically saying special. We're saying it's basically you have treif utensils for anything which comes into contact with the liver during the broiling process. It means you need to have, okay, so today we have a lot of aluminum stuff, so it's really not a big deal. I think today with disposable, so what's the big deal? You have a tray, you broil it, you maybe have a catch.
You put it on a rack.
Right, so you have the rack. The rack is the problem, right? The rack.
Can't you kasher the rack?
So you could kasher, but it's labor intensive. It means after every time, first of all, if you're a liver lover and you're doing this all the time, probably you just have your tray.
No, we only buy the
disposables?
No, not disposable. We buy livers already been kasher. Makes life easy.
So I don't want to skip steps. Basically,
why are they allowed to sell it? If you can sell a liver that is covered, why are they allowed to sell a liver?
So just for the camera to see, if I can't see so well, but Meal Mart, this is Ed Food Showcase 3 hours. They do sell a. I'm just looking for the picture in color. It's a little bit easier to see. It looks like your cold cup packaging. They sell Meal Mart liver that's pre-made. So I asked the butcher, I went in the back, I said, can I speak to you? And I said, why do you sell this thing? Isn't it a mechshel? He said, a lot of the ladies remember when they were kids, or they can make it the way they want to make it. Probably this, if you look at this Meal Mart picture, it looks like Meal Mart cold cuts. It doesn't look so appetizing. If you want to make liver the way that you want to make it, so you got to make it yourself the old school way. But it just means you have to know what you're doing. It means in order to broil it, you're supposed to have direct flame. You're not you're supposed to, you would need to have some sort of tray which can hold the meat, the liver, that the fire can basically almost get directly towards it. So practically, I don't know what people use. I think they use their broiler. It's like a thing on the bottom of the oven. I don't think I have a broiler. In our oven, it's a double.
If you have a self-cleaning oven.
Yeah, ours has.
The broiler is on top.
That's another shaila. Should the flame be underneath is ideal, but bidiyah, it's on top, it's okay. In the old ovens, they used to have like on the bottom like a separate drawer.
Yes,
that was a broiler.
That's what I sold. You had the oven, that was a broiler on the bottom.
Right.
There was burner, that was with the oven. You had the oven, the burner was underneath the oven and above the boiler pan.
Right, so practically, whatever drips from it is treif, it's blood. So you need to have some sort of catch tray, which again, with disposable is not a big deal, to catch the dripping blood so it doesn't splatter all over your oven, because assuming you're going to use this broiler for other things. So you practically, have you done this in your house? So what do you do?
We had a rack. I don't remember that we had a special rack. You never thought about.
I think this is probably. I think people don't really. You have to kasher. You can have a special rack, which is your treif rack. You put in when you do just for liver, or you have to kasher it. You can self clean.
That's a rack, wasn't it? He kasher the
Yeah, so you'd have to leave it on for an extended period of time. In between usages or something like that.
You just leave it in the oven, the kasher.
Yeah, but and then you should really have a big drip pan to catch all the blood that you're trying to get the blood out. So when the blood gets out, you don't want it to splatter all over your kosher oven, so you have to catch it. So in the CRC,
It wouldn't work for an electric.
Why not?
Why?
Well, electric is not a flame.
So in the Tzurba, in the footnote, it says that they didn't get into it, but there's a whole discussion whether a microwave could even work for broiling. Because microwaves broil, apparently. He says the whole shaila with apparatuses.
Microwaves do not broil. There's no boiling elements in a microwave.
Right. So it's a footnote. It says there's a discussion online.
Surprisingly, there actually are, but it would be the same thing as an electric oven.
Right.
There are microwaves that put an electric element inside the microwave. On top. And attempt to broil
they use that element.
There's an electric element.
There's an electric element,
Not
just like an
flame.
electric oven, but it's not fire.
Again, there's a footnote. If you're interested in that I didn't look into that. There's a footnote that says there's a whole discussion about microwaves. I should figure out how does this work. So the CRC guidelines that's why I googled CRC guidelines. They say a separate grill or other CRC approved heating device, parentheses, a dedicated toaster should be used. To me, that sounds like the easiest, cleanest way. You have again, I've never broiled in a toaster, but I guess if your toaster oven, your pizza, whatever, convection ovens have a broil setting.
Like even without a flame, that is electric.
That's electric.
Oh.
That is electric.
So that's it. That's what it seems to be saying. And to me that it's just like they're cheap. They're like $40, whatever. They're not like so expensive. And then you don't have to deal with the blood splattering on your oven that you're going to use to make your dinner every other night. Here, Again, I don't think most people are doing it. I think most people are using the broiler setting on their oven. But you have to know what you're doing. You can't just have the blood splattering out. That's treif. It's mamish dam. There's shilas. In fact, how long that dam, the liver, should be sitting in the blood. Because we have a concept of kavish k'mavushal. Just soaking in something for 24 hours is as if it was cooked. So there's the shilas about. Here he says the CRC guidelines. Upon receiving the livers, any blood collected in the bag or container should be spilled out to avoid the liver sitting in the blood for 24 hours. I don't really chap how that works, because that was just a food showcase, and there's a tub, and it's sitting in the thing, and I imagine they're not selling them 24 hours always. I don't really understand what he means by that. You know what I'm saying? It's always sitting in, unless it's going off the shelf like hot potatoes, so presumably it's sitting in the thing for 24 hours. But there's shilas about the blood.
It's possible they prep it that day. There's some things I feel like they
do it that morning, and then they maybe.
Let's say they prep it Friday or Thursday night. It's not till Friday.
It says if it's
possibly.
It says if they are frozen, care should be taken that they should not sit defrosting their own blood for more than 24 hours. Frozen liver should be completely thawed out before boiling. Again, there are real shilas that come up. Another interesting, so two more interesting things, and these are more just like what I learned from going to food showcase from the butcher. So one was I asked him about this. The other thing I noticed, did anyone look carefully in the get up to this part of the sugya? So the sugya said that the whole slicing it to, I guess, make it more permeable.
They're talking about the
meat liver.
Liver.
Yes, that's what I want to make now.
Not chicken liver.
So it made the point in the paragraph that it's only for calf livers. I guess because calf livers presumably are thicker. I guess
Much bigger.
Right. So I guess you want to make it more pervious to allow the blood to drain out. So it says chicken livers. You don't need to do this whole crisscross shesiv erev cut. When I got to food showcase, I didn't know what to expect. But I noticed that all of the raw liver says chicken liver. So I went to the butcher and I said, why you only sold chicken liver? There was no other liver. In fact, the Meal Mart one, just double check, the Meal Mart one also says fully cooked ready chicken liver. So I asked him, I said, why do you only sell chicken liver? He said meat liver doesn't sell as well. It says it's just a different flavor, a different taste. Again, I'm not a liver guy, so he said it's a different taste. It doesn't sell well. He said if people want it, he can make it. He just doesn't. They said it doesn't sell well. That was the one interesting thing. This I'm maybe a little nervous to say it on camera, but I said to him, even with the sign, why do you do this? Like it seems almost like a michshel. He said, look, his job is the butcher, the Kashering agency has to make decisions. He said that in Monroe, he said Kiryas Yol. He's from Kiryas Yol. In Kiryas Yol, you can't buy it the way you can buy it here. He said Kiryas Yol, it's all at the store already kosher for you. Because there's so many people who don't know what they're doing. I think it's just a potential michshel. Look, I know Sobolovsky is on top of this whole thing, and I've spoken to him tangentially. Now I know more. I could go back and speak to him now more directly about it. But there must be a market of people who really want to make their own, because the stores feel like they want to meet the demands of the people, and the Kashering agencies are probably trying to find a middle road. But until this shiloh came up 10 minutes ago, I didn't even know this was a shiloh. So I thought for sure it's good to educate people that if you're hosting your grandparents and they want you to make liver, you could be bringing tray food into your home. Okay, which is fine, as long as you have to know what you're doing. You have to be an educated consumer, and you have to have a special utensils, have everything disposable, at the very least have everything disposable to avoid the real shilas of trafing up your kitchen. So that